What do you do when you're in the middle of something tough, like a tough workout, a athletic event, or even a really tough client interaction? Do you sort of start to berate yourself and beat yourself up, or do you reach down in the recesses of your brain and begin to sort of coach yourself out of it? Let's take a look at some ways to do that through positive self-talk. See what you guys think.
Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
Let's take a look at something a little different today in the presentation here. Positive self-talk, um, enhancing your performance, and maybe helpfully helping you build a little resilience to the process of suffering. I prepared this little slideshow here to help us get through this. And, I don't know where this is going to go necessarily in terms of helping you, but it helps me pull out some lessons that I've learned over the years from some, pretty influential people in my life. And it's something I like to do that can really help me sort of get over the hump when things get tough. So let's dig in here. What is it? Positive self talk. To me, it's a strategy that I can employ to sort of feed myself positive vibes and constructive vibes to sort of alter my thoughts and emotions, right? And hopefully through that my behavior in the middle of something tough, like a tough workout, um, a test, like a physical test, like a martial arts event, like a fight or a match, or even in a client scenario where I'm in a sales situation or we're dealing with someone who's unhappy and I have to get through it. It's those little things that can sort of keep you on the rails. Why? Why? Right? Why would we look at some of this stuff in the first place? Benefits. It can help boost your confidence, right? If you use it in a way that really helps you reinforce the things that got you there, the things that you're good at, can help you improve your focus while you're in the thing, right? It can reduce anxiety, like before something, like I do some things like that before, like if I have a tough phone call or I'm about to, um, if I'm about to perform in front of a bunch of people in some way, like in a martial arts scenario or whatever, it can help lower my anxiety, my expectations, right? It can help me sort of run through the scenarios over and over and over in a positive way. It can help enhance your motivation, can keep you driven and committed on the outcomes that you're striving for. And it helps with resilience, right? It can help you bounce back if there's something going wrong or something goes wrong. It can sort of help, steer you in that direction and stuff. Um, so, what the heck am I talking about? Let's look at some different types of this stuff. Okay. There's motivational. Okay. Motivational. So, an example, I can do this. Keep pushing. You're almost there. Okay. Like the little engine that could sort of a scenario. I could do this. Keep pushing. I can do this. Keep pushing. Um, that's sort of a motivational way to look at it. Instructional. You can focus on technical or tactical aspects of whatever. Like here's an example, like a tennis player, stay low on your serve, breathe and relax your shoulders. You know, in a martial arts scenario, it's, whatever the things you've been working on, you just say it over and over to remind yourself. You're sort of keeping yourself on the specific, technical or tactical pieces of the thing. Positive affirmation, right? It can help boost confidence, build your self-worth, right? I'm strong and capable. I have prepared well for this. I've prepared. I'm strong. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. I got it. I've done everything that I needed to do. I'm where I need to be. Like those type of things you can say to yourself right before you step out there on there. Okay. So, what are some strategies to sort of build your positive self talk? Some strategies. So, one is use present tense. Okay. Frame those statements in the present to reinforce your current abilities, right? I am in control. I perform at my best when this. Sort of like framing the statements in the here and now in the thing you're doing. Like, I know this thing. I've got this thing. I do my best when I've done these things and I've done these things. Can be specific, right? So the tactical or the technical, right? Tailor it to a very specific thing, right? Like focus on the ball, maintain your pace if you're a runner, you know, the little one little thing over and over and over, right? That you need to do to get through it. Keep it realistic, right? Ensure those statements are believable to avoid that weird, like if you're saying things to yourself that aren't really rooted in reality, you're kind of stretching, right? Like the things that you like, I've trained for this moment. I've done harder things before, right? I use that one actually a lot. Um, I've done way harder. I've actually said that out loud to other people. We've done harder than this before, and it sort of level sets things. Use positive language. Okay. Like avoid negative, right? Avoid being negative and focus on what you want to achieve. Stay calm rather than don't get nervous, right? That's a way to look at it. So if you're giving yourself a cue, like stay calm, stay in the now, stay in the moment, focus on the ball. Don't be negative with it, which is, hey, don't get nervous. Don't miss this serve, you know. don't don't use too much energy, don't use the negative. It's going to make you focus on the negative. It's going to put your mind in the negative. Practice this stuff. You have to practice it. You have to put it into action. Do it a lot, and it builds over time. We'll have Coach Divine talk to us a little bit about that in a second. Integrate it into your daily routines and things. You know, work out some things for yourself. Use them during warm ups. Right before a call, like whatever. Just start working on those little things. Put them into practice. Here's some examples for. Let's look at some ones for athletes. Here's some examples of positive self-talk for athletes, okay? So before a competition, this is like whatever athletic event, I'm just using the word competition. So before, I'm ready and excited for this. I have the skills and strength to win. Like whatever, those sound a little stiff and not very creative, but there's just examples and you can do those yourself, okay? So then during, stay focused, stay in the moment. Trust trust your training, trust your gut. And then after, I did my best. Analyze and learn, You either win or you learn. Win or learn. Like before, during, and after, we're trying to change the focus on the positive potential, positive experience, and then positive outcomes, which is learning from those things. Let's take a look at this thing here. This is a pretty cool Instagram post. I want to show you some actual professionals doing some of this. So she's like clearly like in the Olympics or whatever. She's about to do her thing, and she's literally talking to herself.
Right here. Do some work for all that training you did. Everything you do is for this right here. Come on, hey. Come on. You're living the dream. How bad you want it? How bad you want it? How bad you want it? Make the big play, huh? Make the big play. Huh? Controlled aggression. Controlled aggression. Come on. Controlled aggression. Controlled aggression.
Wow, right? That's a NFL lineman talking to himself, like getting himself worked up, but in a positive. How cool is that? Technical, tactical. Focusing on the details. Solid stuff, right? The world-class athletes using these techniques. Literally, you can see it. We've got an article on the site. It's a chapter in an online book we're working on here, The Power of Positive Self-Talk. You go dig into that. And, hopefully you can get something out of that. But it goes over some basics here. Monitoring your thoughts, use positive affirmations, focus on strength, practice gratitude, surround yourself with positivity. You got to pay attention to your inner dialogue. You've got to pay attention to that. A lot of times we're talking ourselves down before we even started, right? You've got to sort of self edit in real time some of those thoughts and reframe things. We'll talk again. Coach Divine's going to talk to us about reframing, using positive affirmations, staying in the positive by focusing on your strengths, the things that you've done well, things you've done well in the past, things that you're building on in practice or whatever. Practicing gratitude can really help you. Being appreciative. After the moment, being appreciative of the moment. And you see that a lot. A lot of pro athletes will, give gratitude to, religion or whatever, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Surrounding yourself with positivity, really, if you're editing your own thoughts, you should edit, what you let into your circle, your being from other things. If you're surrounding yourself with someone who's doing the opposite of what you're trying to do, it's not really going to help you much. So you got to watch out for the negative influences and things, right? They say you are what you are, what you take in, talking about food, but also talking about media and music and stuff like that. Let's take a little look at Coach Divine here. He's going to talk to us about mental redirection, negative to positive. He has a whole section on mental toughness, but one of the big parts of that is positivity and generating it and harnessing it.
Positive self-talk, right? It's more than a simple affirmation. It's about aligning a belief system and interdicting the negative and replacing with the positive, and then latching onto that and focusing on that. Now you got that new focus. You focus on that, until your body starts to follow that, until the sensations and the imagery start to line up with that.
So isn't that interesting? He's talking about using mental stimulus, like that you create yourself, to then create a reaction in your body, in your performance. It all starts in your mind.
The reason you can do a 45-minute plank hold is because you in this controlled environment, you start to tell yourself you can do it because I'm doing it. Everyone else is starting to do it. And you're like, holy shit, maybe I can do this. And then you stop saying maybe, you say, I got this. I got this. We've already made it 30 minutes. Let's just make it another one.
So in the SEAL Fit, they have I forget, 72 hours. It could be longer. A crucible event called Kokoro Camp. But anyway, one of the things I believe they do is a 45-minute plank hold. They call it the wolf plank. And through that plank, you begin to do some of these things because you have to, in order to get through it. You have to stop while you're in the middle of it mentally and feed yourself positive thoughts. Feed the courage wolf. That's where the courage wolf and the fear wolf come into play. That whole concept.
Another one. And suddenly you've got that. And for the rest of your life, you're like, yeah, bring it on. I'll do an hour next time.
An hour.
Selection, no problem. Bring it on. It's 48 one-hour workouts. Easy day, you know? But you got to be in control.
They talk about, I've heard Coach Divine discuss this, but I've heard other SEALs talk about that you can't focus on the entire week, which is hell week, or you focus one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one little thing, one task at a time. That if you focus on the entire thing, you'll get overwhelmed and quit. So you have to break it down mentally and physically into smaller bite-sized chunks. He's talked before about running, where it's like whatever's in your vision, like what you can see, a couple hundred yards away, that's your goal, and you run to that. And then you get there, and then the next goal is the next thing you can see, and you run to that. And then you stitch enough of those together, and you've run 5 miles.
Right? You lose control by getting into your emotions or allowing identification with that thought process that says, this sucks, I'm cold, I'm tired, blah, blah, woe is me. Now you're identifying with the wrong thing, and you let that energy, it runs with you.
Man, I was doing this Rogue challenge. Rogue is a outfitter for CrossFit. I mean, any gym really, but for CrossFit gyms, you'll see them in the CrossFit games and stuff. But they make it's like an assault bike, which is the bike with the handles that you push as well as you pedal at the same time. But they call it the Echo bike. It's a fan-driven system, and it sucks. But this was about I don't know, a few months ago. But they had a challenge, and it was what was it exactly? A 50 calories on the bike. It takes, your average human being, myself, whatever, it's 5 to 8 minutes. And you've got it, and you're trying to do it as fast as possible. So 50 calories as fast as possible. We actually had someone in the gym do it in like 3 minutes, which is very impressive. It took me about 8. But I experienced this exactly. I got about 3 minutes in, and I started thinking about how much it sucked, and how much the Echo bike sucks, and how much everybody thinks the Echo bike sucks. And I started feeling sorry for myself, and I quit. Like I quit. I wanted to not continue this challenge. But the thing is I had people watching me, so I had to like use that and dig in and finish it. But it was like one of the worst performances I think I've had, like in a physical event type scenario. And it was because I let those intrusively negative thoughts in, and I lost. And so, you in that scenario would have been a lot better off, just counting down, maybe like 2 minutes to go, so-and-so did this, I can do this, I've done harder, whatever.
It takes you away. It steals you, literally. And so you don't want to let some other entity steal you, take you down a path you don't belong. And you almost have to look at this part of your mind that is tuned toward negativity, where the fear wolf resides. You have to look at it like the positive way to look at it is an untamed stallion. And so it's your objective to tame the stallion so you can get on that horse and ride it wherever you want in a positive direction. Otherwise, untrained in a negative sense, that stallion can be mean, can bite you, it can stomp you to death.
That's pretty cool. The wolf, there's a he I first learned it from Coach Divine, but there's a I don't know, you can look it up. It's an old story or whatever, supposedly a Native American story or whatever, but it's about a young man who comes to his grandpa and he says, he starts talking about how he was upset about something, and the grandfather says, inside of us there are two wolves. There's a fear wolf who feeds off of negativity and anxiety and fear and you being upset and scared, and there's the courage wolf, and it feeds off of positive thoughts and love and hope and focusing on the future. And you just have to ask yourself in those situations which wolf you're feeding, and that's they use that analogy a lot, feed the courage wolf. He says that a lot. I believe they say that a lot in the SEAL teams. I mean, that's coming from him. I've read it a lot or whatever, and I've used it, and it kind of works. And I like his, the stallion metaphor, which is sort of, breaking a horse. Being able to separate yourself from your mind sounds really weird, but it's like however you need to think about it, separating your heart from your mind or your multiple personalities or whatever it is. But whenever that, David Goggins calls it the inner bitch, which is kind of, whatever. But if you know who David Goggins is, you'll get it. But like, it's just that separating yourself from that thing or that person and pushing yourself towards the other person. It really makes a difference, even when you're suffering really bad.
So your mind, your cognitive mind, is like the untrained stallion. When you control that and you're able to get your mind slowed down into that alpha or even delta state, then you unlock your ability to communicate with your heart mind, your belly mind. That's where the courage wolf resides. And there's a tremendous power that comes from that, connecting with that region.
Is that courage wolf again? Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff from Coach Divine. Let's take a look at this, how it might not just, we're talking a lot about like athletes and physical events and stuff like that. But let's look at like, maybe high performing professionals. Like, you're a professional you're an engineer or leading teams or whatever, right? So these are just some random ones, but before a presentation, I'm well prepared and confident. I can handle any questions that come my way, right? Try to kill some of that anxiety before, you get up in front of people. During a project, stay focused and keep moving forward. Break it down into manageable steps. I can't tell you how many times I've been presented with a problem from a client, and I'm like, it's impossible. I don't know. We can't do that. But then, you walk away and, 24 hours later, you're like, nah, we could actually do that. If I just broke it down. And then after a setback, this is a learning opportunity. I have the resilience to overcome any challenge. We all screw up, and it's not helpful to just beat yourself up terribly after screwing up. You really need to try to reframe that, refocus on the opportunity, which is getting better. That's really what it's all about. But the thing is any of this stuff, is it easy to do? No. None of this is easy to do. None of it. You have to practice. And that's what we've been talking about, is practicing. You have to start breaking it down, using it here and there, seeing where you can pull it in. Maybe Coach Divine's words have more meaning to you than mine. That's why I shared it. Positive self-talk, y'all. Thank you. I understand that, your time is limited. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. If you spend it with me today, man, I hope you got something out of this. This is just one of those little lessons that I carry with me. I don't always succeed, but it really has changed me. meeting Coach Divine, learning from him over the years remotely, and then other people that preach similar things. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay positive.